hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So as you all know, I recently went to Rome. I had 5 nights in Rome with my sister and we did all the sightseeing, tried all the pasta, all the lovely Italian cuisine, and I thought I didn't really talk in depth about what we did specifically or where we stayed, the costings, the pricings, things like that, and my overall review. So I thought I'd do a follow-up video of sorts just to talk you through my 5 days and sort of do almost a Q&A. So I hope you enjoy. If you haven't been to Rome, hopefully this video will help. I will talk in depth about a lot of things that we did, and again, like the pricing, the even recommendations for you. So hope you enjoy the video. So to start off, I'm going to be talking about where we stayed. So we stayed for 4 nights, 5 days in the Trevi Palace Luxury Inn. Now this hotel was, I say it multiple times in the video, although the amount changes every time I say it, but it is about a 30-second walk from the hotel to the Trevi Fountain. It is that close. It is amazing. I mean, it is so close to the fact that you can hear all of like the hustle and bustle of everyone by the Trevi Fountain, and as you step out of your hotel you can hear the fountain. So you literally just have to walk a couple of steps, 30 seconds, and you're there. The hotel itself I would describe as a very sort of boutique, modern Italian hotel. Now the hotel is actually a really old building. It was a really old building, like concrete, stone, and you can see that when you go in, and then the hotel was just built in it, built around it, you name it. But it was so like boutique, so chic, cute. It was, I would say it was very modern, but it was how you would describe like a small boutique Italian hotel. It's not like a massive chain hotel. You don't get really many of them at all in central Rome. They're all very small, boutique, not many rooms, very sort of homely feel. But that's the vibe I got from staying in there for the 4 nights. The rooms were really spacious. In our room we had like the tallest ceiling ever, which sort of made the room feel bigger in a way, but the room was really nice. I would say everything was sort of standard as you'd get. Like you got a fridge, we got a coffee machine, we got a TV, everything that you'd sort of get in a standard hotel room. We didn't really use much of the facilities in the hotel, in the room as well. We didn't really unpack properly. We used the coffee, well I used the coffee machine, had an espresso, really nice. It's Lavazzo in the hotel rooms for the coffee. Because we were so close to the Trevi Fountain, and that's where a lot of the noise came from, whenever we'd open our window it was so loud. You could just hear everyone. When like a car would go past, a motorbike, because there's a lot of them in Rome, it would be very loud in the room. But the issue that we had is you couldn't have air conditioning in the room. I believe it was due to the rules in Rome. Up to a certain point in the year you can't use aircon, so you have to open your windows. That's what we did, or we had to do. It would be very hot like in the middle of the night, but then we'd open the window to get some cold air in, but then it'd be so loud. So it was that was a bit annoying in my opinion. But we were in a central location, so we sort of knew what it was going to be like. Don't get me wrong, that did not ruin the experience at all. I would definitely go back and stay in that hotel. I think it's perfect for convenience, for location. The hotel itself was just stunning. It really was a lovely place to stay. The staff were lovely. We had breakfast included in our stay as well, which the breakfast was really nice. You sort of got everything standard included in like a European breakfast. But I would definitely recommend staying there if you want a central point to be in Rome. And we walked everywhere. There were a couple of times where we got the metro just because we wanted to get the metro, just to say we'd been on it. But I would definitely stay there. It was a really nice hotel, so I definitely recommend going to the Trevi Palace Luxury Inn. So next I just want to talk about how much we spent on the actual package, like the flights and the hotel, and how much we spent and budgeted for the actual holiday itself. So we got a really good deal actually, because my parents are going to Rome and I was looking for the hotel to book for them, and it's ridiculously expensive, so I don't know how on earth we paid so little. But we booked with EasyJet holidays, so we got flights and the accommodation included, as well as like hold baggage and everything. And we paid for the 4 nights, 5 days, flights, baggage, hotel with breakfast. It was about £320 for the 4 nights, 5 days per person. So I think that is such a good deal. Just to compare, I looked for this hotel, this exact same package for my parents to go in September. I don't know, maybe September's just a more expensive time to go, but for them it was like £800, £900 for 4 nights, 5 days for everything that we had as well. So I think we got a good deal. Now there were a few extras that we paid. So we stayed at a hotel the night before at Gatwick. We paid like £6.99 to pay for our seats because we didn't want to be allocated them, things like that as well. So there were extras just before the actual holiday. But in terms of spending money when we actually got into Rome, myself and my sister both have Monzo cards, so we just loaded money onto that. I think we had to use cash once because one of the shops wouldn't accept card. It was a very traditional old Italian shop where they had like a really oldie sort of traditional till, so they don't take card, it was just cash. But everywhere else we just paid with Apple Pay. We didn't even get our cards out. So that was so easy. So I definitely recommend a Monzo card because it does convert all the exchange rates. You don't get charged like currency exchange rates or anything like that. So definitely go for the Monzo card. And we also sort of took it in turns to pay for dinners. So like if we had a sit down meal one night for lunch, I would pay, but then we'd have something sort of light, maybe like we'd walk around eating like a slice of pizza, but then the next day the other person would pay for it. So we did alternate with that, so that might have helped us. It depends on obviously what you do, if you want to split as well, if you want to take it in turns to pay. But with that in mind, we each took around £300, and I had a bit left over. I don't think my sister did because she was buying a lot of stuff for her friends. She likes gelato, as you saw. I'm not really a fan of ice cream or gelato, but yeah, it was roughly around £300 that we took. And yeah, like I said, I bought some back, so we budgeted for around that, and yeah, I feel like that was good enough. I don't think there was any need for any more than that unless you were going in maybe the ridiculously expensive places, but Rome in itself isn't really that expensive. So moving on to the places that I visited and the places that I loved going to, and maybe the places I wouldn't go back to. So typical tourists we were. We did the Colosseum, we did the Spanish Steps, the Roman Forum, we went over to the Vatican and did the museum and the chapel. We did a lot of things that you would probably normally do on your first time there. I mean, I'll talk more about this, but we probably would go back to some of the places again, but not all of them. My favourite place to go was definitely the Colosseum. I just thought that was mesmerising. It was just a beautiful place to visit. It had so much history behind it. The fact that it was just still there randomly. Like, I couldn't get over that. The fact that you would just walk around a corner and there'd be just an old building. Like, we were wandering around and then you turn a corner and you're just there's the Pantheon. Like, it was just crazy how you'd walk around and there'd just be old ruins and buildings everywhere. It's very strange. But no, I would definitely visit the Colosseum again. I do find that maybe they could improve on their advertising of where to go. As you've seen in my video, it was a very bad organisation of how you get there, and they tell you to arrive early but they don't even let you in. But no, that was probably the best part of the whole trip, was going into the Colosseum, because you see it online, you see it on TV, you see it in like TV adverts, you see it in films, but it's just amazing to actually go there and see the real thing, and to stand there and just think about everything that happened in that building and that it's still there now to this day, it's a really amazing thing to go and see. There's also some beautiful churches that you can go into for free. There are a lot, they're not really obvious, but you can just be walking down a road and there'll be a church somewhere and you can walk in, you can just sit down, take it all in. But yes, they are beautiful. They are really stunning churches. They're not like the churches we have over here. Interestingly, one place I wouldn't go back to is the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel. Now, don't hate me for this. I'll probably get a lot of comments about this, but I did find the chapel very underwhelming. It was, you know, everyone talks about it a lot. Everyone mentions that you have to go in there and it's a beautiful place. I found it to be quite, I won't say boring is the word, but I was expecting something extravagant, something, you know, like mesmerising to even look at, but I didn't find that at all. I walked in and then about 5 seconds later I walked out and thought, oh, well, was that it? I'm very sorry, that is just my opinion. I'm sorry if that offends people. I didn't think it was an interesting chapel at all. There were loads of people as you went in there just staring at the ceiling, but yeah, to me it was just another building that I could have just not even gone in. Had there not been a big sign that says Sistine Chapel, I wouldn't have known. The Vatican Museum is nice, but I think I think you would enjoy it more if you knew a lot of the history. You maybe had an audio guide. Yeah, you were just maybe interested in the history behind it and, you know, the history of the Vatican and things like that. But I just wasn't. I get bored easily when it comes to museums. If I see a lot of the same things, so the same types of paintings, the same type of, you know, history that I'm reading about constantly, I'm not really interested in it after a while. I just like to go and find something new. Don't get me wrong, there were some amazing things in that museum, but I think you would appreciate it more if you were if you were interested in that sort of thing, if you knew a lot about the history, if you had maybe a guide with you. We didn't have a guide because we don't like tours. We hate sticking with a group. We think it causes congestion, causes issues, you get lost, you have to wait for people if they've gone missing. That was probably one of the things I didn't like about Rome, that I think the reason why it's so busy is because tours just cause so many issues. I think if you went into the chapel by yourself and just wandered around by yourself, there wouldn't be that many issues with queuing and stuff. I do find that's the main issues of congestion in these types of places because of the tours. I found the whole entrance when you go into the Vatican really amazing. I mean, in the video you would have seen, you know, you walk up to it and there's all the pillars and there's some amazing places that you can see as well as the museum and the chapel. We didn't go in because those places you can't really book for. There was one, I can't remember what it's called, but there was one that you had to just walk up and get in a queue, and the queue was like 4 hours long. We're not doing that at all. I don't care how important it is, I'm not queuing for 4 hours. The longest I've ever queued for something is when Saw the Ride opened at Thorpe Park. I queued 3.5 hours. Never again. Great ride, but I will never ever want to queue for something for that long. I don't know why I did. Well, I love roller coasters. But anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent here. If you want to queue, queue. So moving on to food and drink, mainly the food part. So we did a mixture of sit-down restaurants, walking and eating, grab and go, things like that. We wanted to try a bit of everything. We wanted to try the food that we came for, and we did, and let me tell you now, yes, Italy has the best food ever in the world. They're on a different level when it comes to food. Like I honestly don't know how the food here tastes so bad. Especially the pasta. The pasta in Italy is like premium level, like it's insanely good. So there's a few recommendations. So the first restaurant we actually sat down and ate food was our first day when we arrived, when we walked over to the Colosseum. So we had that lovely view where we were sat out sort of in the terrace, and then the Colosseum was right there. So that restaurant was called the Royal Art Cafe, and it was amazing food. I had a chicken Caesar salad, Sophie had pasta, really, really nice. The views were amazing, the service was lovely, not really that expensive. It came to I think 40 euros for 2 drinks and just 2 mains, which I think is normal when you're eating out, especially when you're eating right next to the Colosseum and you can see it when you're eating. I think they would, like, you'd expect them to just bump up the prices because of the location. No, it's still exactly the same, not expensive at all. Food really good, really nice service, and yeah, it was just an overall really good experience. We also went to a restaurant called Il Chianti, which was opposite our hotel, right next to the Trevi Fountain. This restaurant we went to 3 times. I had the same thing twice, and then the day of our flight back we had lunch there just before we left. I had like a cheese board, and then I think Sophie had different things each time, I think it was all pasta that she had, and it was lovely. I tried a bit of her cacio di pepe on the first time we went. Delicious, delicious. We did find that it is a very popular chain restaurant. I think a lot of people are aware that it is very popular. There were queues. Lunch started at 12. We started queuing at about 5 to 12, and there was already about 6 or 7 groups in front of us, and they hadn't even opened yet. So it's very popular, and we know it was very popular. But the service was really good, the food was really good. They had an outdoor and an indoor seating area as well. And again, really cheap food. Like, each time we went there, we had, again, 2 drinks, 2 mains, and again, it came to about like 40 euros, maybe 45, 50 at most. But yeah, again, really good service. We went there 3 times, each time was amazing, so I would definitely recommend Il Chianti as well. Now, I didn't get the names of these places, but there were a few gelato places right by the Trevi Fountain that Sophie would go to, and she said that each one was really good, so she would recommend all of them. I think there's about 3. But as you're looking at the Trevi Fountain, if you go right, there's 1 that side and then 2 the other side. Always busy, obviously, because you're right near the fountain, but she had like different flavours every single time, and she said that all of them were amazing, and they were only about 6 euros for like a massive cone or a massive like pot, so well worth it. I don't think there was any restaurants or any places that we went where the food wasn't very good. I think everything was either of a good quality or better. There wasn't anything where you were like, oh, this is disgusting. Everything was delicious, much better than what we have here in the UK, obviously. What I would say is, if you're not aware, or even if you are, we found out when we were there that in Italy, Italians like to eat a lot later than maybe other European countries, or maybe it's just the UK that doesn't do this, but we usually eat at like, for us lunchtime is like 12:30, something like that, and our dinner's maybe like 6, 6:30. Over there they will have lunch at like 3, 4, and then have like dinner at like 9 o'clock. Well, I'll be in bed at that time, but it did work out well for us because it wouldn't be very busy when we want to sit down and have lunch or dinner, because no one would want to eat out yet. It would be a lot of the tourists that would do that, because we obviously had a time where we usually eat. So just a thing to look out for if you do want to eat earlier. That's probably a good thing. And something to mention as well, this is especially for if you sit outside by any of the like walkways while you're eating. Make sure you have your personal belongings, your bags, anything like that, either on you or somewhere where you can always see it. We did witness, sadly, we didn't witness it happen, but we knew what happened because we saw the commotion afterwards. We saw a family sitting and someone had, I think, put their bag behind them on the chair, and it was right by the walkway. And we did see after that that someone had taken their bag and stolen the bag, and we did really feel for the family because they were panicking, and I think luckily there wasn't all of the belongings in there, because I think the person whose bag it was did have their phone, they were on the phone and things like that. But it's really horrible that that does happen. So one thing is keep your bags and stuff on you when you're eating, but also when you're walking around these types of, you know, popular areas like the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, anything like that, if you have a backpack, put it in front of you, like attach it to the front of you. I know it looks weird, but trust me, it'll be a lifesaver, because you don't want to lose it, absolutely not. And the same goes for if you've got a shoulder bag, anything like that, make sure you are sort of holding it so you know it won't get lost. So that's just a tip, because we did sadly witness the aftermath of someone's bag being stolen. These 4 nights and 5 days were amazing. I do feel that if you've never been before, that's the like perfect amount of time to go for. I mean, after a few days our legs were like dying. Like on the last day, honestly, my legs were just aching so much and they really hurt. But you do a lot of walking, there is so much to see. I mean, you probably could do all of the main places in maybe 2 days, but we did split it up a bit. We went to some other places as well, like you saw, but we did have an amazing time. We did visit some amazing places, had some amazing food, got some great memories, and we really, really, really want to go back. And we are hoping to go back to Rome, and we also want to go to other places in Italy as well. So hopefully we'll be doing that soon as well. And then just staying on that topic, we are also planning, well, we're going, you know, we're going on a cruise very soon. We're going on P&O's Iona. So watch out for those videos as well. I might do like a packing video very soon, but me and packing doesn't really go down well, so, but we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do go to Rome, have a fantastic time, and I will see you again in my next video.